Fishing Obsessed Podcast. We'll be sitting down with a fresh guest each week. Someone who shares the same kayak fishing passion that runs through our veins. We're talking kayak anglers, kayak companies, lure experts. Heck, anyone who's got a story to tell about landing the big ones from a kayak. We're setting our sights on becoming the #1 kayak fishing podcast in the world. You'll get a chuckle, a grin, and hey, maybe even a belly laugh. Because we believe in the power of humor. But above all, we're here to educate and inspire. So, whether you're a seasoned kayak angler or just dipping your toes into this exhilarating world, join us on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed Podcast. It's time to reel in adventure, camaraderie, and the joy of the catch. Here's your host, Darren Windle.
What's up, you fishing freaks? Welcome to episode number 113 of the Kayak Fishing Obsessed Podcast, your ultimate source for all things kayak fishing. And Seth, gotta love our show sponsor. Big fan of Dark Horse Tackle. If you want to uncover the underground of fishing, those premium under the radar baits from small batch creators, head over to darkhorsetackle.com. Just got my box in the mail yesterday.
Yeah,
and I got this guy from Deeks Jigs. It's gonna be a bladed jig.
I think you get a box like every week, Darren.
I feel like it, but I don't. It's every month. I like it. It kind of looks, it looks similar to my Evo, to be honest with you. But what I like about it right here, I love a double hook keeper all day long.
I don't know why.
Big fan there. I know. Why doesn't everyone do that? And then, of course, the second thing I do after I get a new bait, I'm like, how sharp is this bad boy? Because sometimes they come out of the package like, this is bogus. I have to go sharpen it myself. And so what I do is I scratch it along my nail, and if it scratches, leaves a white mark, we're good to go. So
you ever use the other side of your finger?
No. if it draws, if it draws blood, you know it's sharp. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
No, I'm excited. I look forward to throwing this. Always a fan. I'm gonna start like goofing around with modifying the blades. I don't know. But I like it. You can tell it's built kind of tough. This is a 3/8 ounce. On the back it says, "Every fat girl loves a dimple." I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. I'm not quite sure what that means, but it's on the packaging.
Hey,
I don't know.
It gets the people talking.
I guess so.
It made it to the show. It made it to the show. And don't forget,
girl loves a dimple. And
Dark Horse Tackle has their store too, so you don't have to necessarily get the monthly subscription, which you can, but you can go on there and just order stuff, which is what I do.
I'm not done with every fat girl loves a dimple. It's because it's a shrimp. You see that?
Yeah, I do see that.
I don't understand. I don't know what to do with that right now. All right, so let's move on. Big thanks to the channel members, Nitro Tracker, John Z, R. Conaway, new members this past month. So thank you guys for the support. Appreciate you more than you know. All right, Seth, how you been, brother? How's your week going? You're getting ready for another tournament. Surprise.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah, we leave for Toledo Bend like Sunday or Monday. For the week. So yeah, that's a big event. We got to get ready for that. Never fished there. No idea what to expect because there's not a whole lot of professional events that occur in the fall on Toledo.
Ooh, so, and you would know because if you listened to last week with Brandon Waugh,
I looked them up, man.
We gave you the juice of how to win tournaments. And so we gave away, I had some people text me afterwards, Seth, like, bro, that was too many secrets in one podcast.
Oh, nice. That's good.
So if you haven't listened to that and you're like, hey, even if you're not tournament fishing, man, just dialing it in the pre-work in order to catch fish. That was a good show. Big fan.
Cool. Good deal. Yeah. So I'll be heading there. See what we can do. See if we can try to get another blue trophy, which would be crazy. But I just want to perform well, execute, and be up there. That's the goal.
Man, I'd be so pumped for you. You were one away. Oh my gosh. I know it's kind of I see it. You do have a blue trophy. He's right behind you. It's just number 2. I know you want number 1. I'm rooting for you. Looking forward to that. Love it. All right. Well, tonight, guys, how to catch smallmouth water donkeys. We're talking about how to pick up some big bass. And every time I go over to Jeff Little's page, that's all I see is big honking smallmouth. So I was like, you know what? I got to get Jeff on. We haven't had him on the show yet in 113 episodes. Jeff Little, the little stuff. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Great. You know what?
Good.
Not too bad. So, Jeff, actually, I met you for the first time. I've known about you for a long time. When I first got into the YouTube space, you've been doing this for a long time. I've heard you introduced as the hardest working man in kayak fishing before. You work for Snake River Manufacturing. And so I always love, before we hopped into like tactical stuff, before we hop into talking about smallmouth, if you're part of the show, or maybe if this is your first one, we like to learn about the man or woman behind the tactics. So let me know a little bit about yourself. How did you first get into fishing? What got you hooked on bass? Why YouTube? What is Snake River Manufacturing? Why is there a giant sturgeon on your hoodie right now? Just lay it on us.
Which one of those do I start with?
I mean, I gave you choose your own adventure right now.
Yeah. The sturgeon thing is the owner of Snake River Manufacturing, Sturgeon Steve. That's his backstory. His passion is catching, Snake River sturgeon, these dinosaurs. And we went out there. I went out there and was like, we need a fishing trip before we make any more marketing videos on these trailers. And like, we went out there, and the first thing you got to do is catch some rainbow trout.
Okay. Like, how big?
20 to 22 inch rainbow trout on gold jackhammers or gold rattle traps in screaming fast current. And he's like, that'll work. And like, a lot of people, that's
a trophy.
That'd be a trophy. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's bait.
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 Seth, you ever catch sturgeon?
I haven't caught a sturgeon.
Okay. It's on my bucket list. My gosh. Keep going, Jeff. So
we didn't get any trout that day, but like, he went through what you do, but that's what he's passionate about. Later in the day, I was like, okay, I know there's smallmouth here. We've caught some amazing trout, and I got to catch some smallmouth. And I went searching in the shallows with that guy, the 5-inch scented jerk shad, and just slow swam it through and got 2 nice ones.
What's nice one in Jeff Little's book?
I think I got one that was 18 3/4, and then one that was 17 3/4. So
yeah, the fight on these things
for like an hour worth of effort after trying to catch a sturgeon, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, so. I bet. Utopia Outdoors chiming over here. Good evening. He just caught a sturgeon a few weeks ago, his first one. So congratulations, Utopia. That's awesome. I love it. I would have just been happy catching 21, 22 inch rainbow trout all day.
So much fun.
Oh my gosh. Were you catching them consistently?
Yeah. Yeah. On gold rattle traps. I was using the Thunderhawk lures. I think they're out of Indiana.
Okay. I have a few hanging on my bait wall.
Look up the Sergeant. What's cool about it, for a lipless crankbait, it has the little the hook tie it swivels. So like they don't throw it. Like you don't lose fish on it. It's amazing. They jump, and you can see the fish in the air, and they're spinning, and then the hard bait is spinning in the opposite direction, and it's all good. So I'm a big proponent of having treble hooks that have some spin on them. This is one of the baits I've been using. It's an old live target crayfish crankbait, but this is a Ryugi quad, and it has a spin. It has a swivel right where my finger is tapping. And what that means is that, well, for one, it's only one treble. So I get a fish that grabs this. When I handle that fish, I'm not worried. The hook is in him. There's not another one that's for me. We're not doing that.
Oh, I almost took a ride on a pike 2 days ago. He got in my kayak, and he was not happy. He started thrashing it. Oh, crap. This is the bad choice.
Yeah. One hook is good. Pike are different, though. Like, this works really good with smallmouth. I think a pike would still find a way to put this hook in him and then that one in him.
He was trying. That's for sure. He was like, crazy. Where's the closest leg? And he just started thrashing. The smallest fishing, that thing came out from under a tree. I haven't even looked at the editing film. I'm not sure if I got it on film, but man, I haven't caught a pike in a couple of years. That was a freaking blast.
Yeah.
When all you're doing is catching 13-inch smallmouth, and a pike hit it. I had another one hit it, and it threw that lure probably 15 feet into the air. It's like, holy cow, these things are vicious.
Yeah, they're wild. They're like We have snakehead near us.
Oh,
and snakehead
fight,
get
man.
crazy like a pike.
Oh yeah.
But,
so where's the Snake River juice at where you can get gorgeous smallmouth dinosaurs and 21-inch rainbows?
I don't know. I was blindfolded.
Oh yeah, you had to sign an NDA. Snake River is where it was at. I love it. So what do you do with them?
Oh, with the sturgeon?
No, what do you do at Snake River? Where I'm switching gears.
Sales and market. I'm chief storyteller. Like I make Instagram reels. I make marketing videos, and then I visit dealers. Although we don't really have a dealer network yet, it's very much a startup. Like he's been doing this for 2 years, and has sold a bunch of them into the Pacific Northwest. But it's like we're not quite at the level where we're ready to expand to dealers. I've been to dealers, and there's a lot of dealers who are like, yes, when you start, we're in. But we got to figure out how to ship these,
Yeah, that's the biggest.
And beautifully welded, he builds them like Steve's over the top, like quality above all else, including above making any sort of deadline.
Yeah. So if you guys,
which is tough. I mean, it's tough to hit deadlines when you're a perfectionist, and once you get it, it's the best. It's a forever trailer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So
one of the things
unfamiliar, really fast. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with Snake River Manufacturing. They make really high end, super nice kayak fishing trailers. I've actually seen them firsthand. Chad Hoover had one. Man, these things are like
they're
excellent.
They're high end, but like I think that's code for too expensive for you to even think about affording. And our single starts at just under $3,000. Now it's stripped down. You get bunks, you get wheels, you get an axle, and you get some plastic fenders, not those super nice metal ones, and then you build up to what you want. So, but he does crazy, what is it, FEA simulation. Like he's an engineer that's done things in, like he's made things for data centers and geothermal, and like as an engineer, he gets it right. Because in the past, if he's gotten something wrong, it's like a multi-million-dollar mistake. So he engineers for perfection.
Yeah.
So, and that's what makes these, they're trailers that like will not leave you stranded somewhere.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. If it wasn't for this is funny. If it wasn't for the Snake River Manufacturing trailer, and you guys have like roller bunks, which makes your kayak really easy to come off. I didn't know that. So Chad Hoover backs both of our trailers in the boat ramp, and mine just takes off of this roller, and I didn't have it tied on. I was like, "Whoa, this thing's taking off!" Well, as it's floating back, that's when I actually caught that film of Chad slipping on his butt at the boat ramp. My kayak flew off the rollers and started floating out. It's probably 20 yards. And I had turned my camera on earlier when we started backing up the truck. And so if it wasn't for those rollers, I wouldn't have got
It's wild
like
that it was pointed in the right direction to capture that.
It was crazy because it was moving off to the left. And another 20 seconds, the whole thing would have been out of frame. It was wild. Yeah. I love it.
So much about content creation is just getting lucky and capturing weird stuff that happens.
It is. And actually, it is
and recognize when you're like, I need to start filming.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't what I thought I'd be filming today, but I need to film this.
I've had people tell me like, oh, I was in my kayak and I had a 12-foot alligator like jump off a nest and fly over the bow of my kayak. I wish I had a camera. I was like, yeah, you wish you had a camera. That thing would go, you'd make a mint off that video. My gosh. But yeah, half the time it's not even, no one wants to watch me catch a fish. Everyone wants to watch like my buddies follow their kayak or fall on their butts. That's the thing that gets views. It's wild. It's wild. Or this is the weird stuff that happens. I had a video 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you saw this. I put my leg out of the side of my kayak to make a sharper turn to create drag.
Yeah.
And to miss a pylon. And it went to like 1.4 million. I was like, what in the world? What are we, who wants to watch this? I have no clue what the algorithm wants, what people want. So I just throw it out there. Sometimes it goes, YouTube sends it. Sometimes it doesn't. I got double cast bass has a Here's his thought. I don't think my lifetime Yukon deserves that kind of trailer. Oh, come on, man.
So we're going to be making all the DIY components so that if you got an old jet ski trailer, you can put our bunks, our rock and rollers, and our metal fenders and whatever. That's one of the things that we want to go after is serving the DIY community.
Yeah,
and
my people.
And that may help more people with a lot of different budgets. So
yeah, I love it. This is funny because we were talking about it in the green room. So I don't know if this is like a softball question to you or this is literally just happenstance. Steven Sturgeon's got a question for you. Hey, Jeff, are you working on anything that helps us guys that load in the back of our pickups? Maybe something like a lift assist, a bed extender or something.
Yeah. So years ago when I was working for Torqeedo and visiting dealers, a lot of dealers, and I would basically I'd carry 5 different kayaks and sometimes 6 in the bed of, it was an 8-foot bed of an F-150.
Okay.
So that if I stopped at a new canoe dealer, I had a Pursuit. If I stopped at a Wildy dealer, I had an Attack. If I stopped at a Hobie dealer, I had a Pro Angler. If I stopped, Jackson Native, and just keep going down the list, right? Bonafide. I had one of everything. I needed a trailer then more than anyone has ever needed a trailer, right. And I didn't do it. I crammed them in the back. Now they weren't all jumbled. I had Trey from Innovative Sportsman weld up something that I used my phone before, but like say here's where you usually put the kayak in the bed, and here's the bed of the trailer, and this is the top rail. So bunks that are up here such that you can shut the tailgate and keep all your stuff in there, maybe have a tonneau cover over the top, and it rides topside, right?
Okay. That's not above your truck, but not below the bed. So right there where the window
on the rails.
Yeah, on the rails.
So there's I mean, it's one of those, hits on the product development board. Along with, we got some 2-piece bunks are already happening that makes it shippable, right?
Yeah.
So if you get the bunk stagers, you can either weld on or those will actually bolt on to like a jet ski trailer or a Harbor Freight trailer or Malone or whatever. And you can get that utility of really, it comes down to a dry launch. So Seth, you're in Florida, is that right?
I am. Yeah.
There's a lot of places that it's a shallow launch down there that you cannot float it off, right?
Right. Yeah. If you're in
the ability to roll it off, and even the idea of not having your feet get wet. If you don't want to have I like getting in the water. That's just me. But people are like, oh, I'm launching, I'm staying dry. Okay, cool. You can back it right up to the water and it rolls right off and your feet are still dry. So you
actually just did a video of that, didn't you, Jeff?
Yeah.
That's how you do that.
So, there's a lot of utility in those rollers, but other features that are on there. But
yeah, love it. If you have a question for Jeff anytime throughout this show, please go ahead and throw that in the comment section. We'll go ahead and get that asked and answered. And we have 47 live right now, so this is exciting. If you haven't done so yet, if you're always tell people, if you're over on Facebook or Instagram, come over here to YouTube, because YouTube is where you're going to see all the discussion. So come on over here. Let's switch gears a little bit. Now let's talk about the smallmouth obsession that I've recently started having, because I live here in Northeast Ohio, and I know there are some smallmouth around me, but I haven't really targeted them as of late until the last 3 weeks, where my buddy Jake Cook and I have been going out on the rivers here. Now, we haven't been catching donkeys, but here in Ohio, he's like, I've been picking up like 18s, pushing 19s, which are really nice smallmouth. And so we went out a few weeks ago. I think I got 30 smallmouth. Went out on a different section of the river, got like 5 or 6 with a pike and a 5-mile float. So I'm still like figuring out the river. It's fascinating to me because the ebbs and flows and the changes, and there's so much to take in consideration with this as the season goes on. But so let's start unpacking all of that. But really fast, where'd your obsession with chasing smallmouth start, Jeff?
I was way more into catfishing as a teenager than bass fishing. I would largemouth fish in neighborhood ponds and farm ponds and sneak out at night and be out all night dragging a black 3/8 buzzbait across ponds and riding my bike around and whatever. Like that was most of my bass fishing. But I could ride my bike down to the Potomac River. I grew up in Rockville, Maryland, and I drive to it was the upper Potomac, not the tidal part. That was about a 7-mile, a little over 7-mile bike ride to Swains Lock, and I could rent a canoe and put it in the water portion of the C&O Canal and paddle up that basically flat water canal, and then drag it up and over the bank and then float the river back down. So
this is an ordeal as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, pre-driver's license, that was a way that I could set up like float trips and shuttle, and it was with a soloing. Usually, sometimes I get the 14-footer, but a lot of times it was a 17-foot aluminum Grumman, and that's just what I learned how to do it in. And yeah, I'd smallmouth fish, but I'd also set up above a log jam and soak chicken liver and catch the catfish. So I don't know. I did that all the way through college. Once I was out of college, I was, actually was still in school at the University of Maryland. And I went for a weekend with some buddies, and like we camped on islands and did a longer float trip. And there was Mark Granger. He was in it was a perception pirouette. So like an old school, like creek boat, like a skirted kayak. And like I'm smashing them on I think it was the head and the puppy, like the top water, like frog colored, whatever. And I'm getting him, and he's just laughing, looking at me, and like, that looks like fun. And I look at him in the kayak, and I'm like, here, and I hand him a rod. He's like, no, man, I'm good. I'm having fun. I'm like, no, you're doing this. So the first person I ever saw kayak fishing, I forced it on him, right? So, and he caught fish, and he was like, this is kind of fun. I'm like, yeah. But I also know I've been out here all weekend, and when the wind's blowing, your life doesn't suck as much as mine does. And it was the precursor to my thinking, I should fish out of a kayak. And once I made that leap, and I bought a Old Town Loon 138 and took it out, I raced through lots of education because, well, that Loon 138, I wrapped it up in a strainer and like flipped it and ended up underneath it, tangled for a little bit, and was like, this isn't totally easy. Like I was taking on whitewater that I shouldn't have with a 14-foot sit-in kayak. So
yikes. I
popped up, from that a strainer, by the way, if you don't know, it's not the thing that you pour the pasta in the water into. Like it's a tree, usually a tree in the water goes through it, but you and your boat do not. And that's what happened to me. I ended up taking a whitewater kayaking class, then some swiftwater rescue classes, and I just kept progressing through getting better and learning whitewater kayaking, not for the sake of whitewater kayaking, but for the sake of being better at handling the boat, putting the kayak where I wanted it to catch the fish. And I eventually earned ACA, American Canoe Association certification as an instructor with the express purpose of taking people out to teach them, and honestly, it didn't start like, hey, I'm going to do this. It was, I want to be a guide. I want to take people out and show them what I've figured out. And it was just going to be about the fishing. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, it needs to be about the learning that I've done. And, I started a business, Blue Ridge Kayak Fishing LLC, in 2001.
I did not know this part. All right. I'm learning something now.
It's still active, and recently I've come back into teaching classes again because I've recertified my ACA certification. This time I did it at a much higher level. I got the L3 river kayak certification, which you got to roll in order to do that, which is totally unnecessary in kayak fishing. But to get that level, to be able to teach on up to class 2, I did that about a year ago. And, I've been offering my classes again. I did it initially from like 2001 or 2002 up through 2011. And then I started teaching the video camera. Actually, 2009, I started with the video, and I made a DVD, and then I made 3 more DVDs. And so I've been teaching through video for a long time, and that's what the Little Stuff YouTube channel is. And there's a whole lot of instructional. You want to learn about catching river smallmouth. That's one of the better resources out there to like teach patterns, teach, understanding stream flows, teach understanding even like the logistic of setting up a float trip, which seems really basic, but I'm like, that still has to be taught because there's people who are just getting into this that understand that like you got to bring your keys with you.
Yeah. That's problematic. I got a bunch of questions coming in from the audience. I'd like to take those. They're for you, Jeff. You ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is more of a comment. Marty Hughes, my man over here. Jeff Little is the Smalley Wizard. So
thanks, Marty.
100%. All right. So Jake's fishing guy. This is the guy I was fishing with. He get me out in the river. We're chasing water level versus bait. So Jeff explained it perfectly. We are finding the accessible deep water, 1 to 2 tail kicks, and the smalls want deeper water. So that's what we noticed when we were out 2 days ago. Maybe it was yesterday. It was like, my gosh, we don't have a bait problem. We have a fish problem. There just wasn't a lot there. And I could see it because the water is only 2 to 3 feet deep. So we're still figuring out the river there. This is a great question.
Can I address that?
Yeah,
first
go for it.
Before we move on?
Yeah.
So river level and understanding, how they orient to different structure at different river levels. We have really low conditions right now.
Yep.
Which seasonally happens, but usually by now we got some flow, but it is super low. And the comment of
explain super low real fast, so for context.
It means you're getting out and dragging a whole lot.
Got it. All right.
And that's where the inflatables come in really, really handy because they're super shallow draft, like 2 inches. You're good. But at this time of year, when it's very low, they're kind of trapped in, and they don't get trapped in really shallow water that's limited. So there's the concept of connected or isolated water. So in the spring, they get in these smaller little eddies, and they're good there. But as the river drops, they have to get out of that area because they'll be trapped in what amounts to a very limited hunting range, right? They can't leave that little area. So they congregate to the longer, deeper pools, and then the deepest water in there. It doesn't mean they're always in the deepest water you can find, but the big fish, whether it's for security or comfort or food sources available, the concept of quick access to deep water, and deep water is relative, but quick access, like 1 to 2 tail kicks, and they're in deep water. Now, the rivers that I'm fishing in Pennsylvania, for some of these pools, 4 feet is deep water.
Yeah,
I know that sounds absurd, but that's
same here in Ohio. Like, oh wow, 4 feet. Like I can still see the bottom, but a
big expansive area that has like 6, 7, 8 plus. That's really nice deep water. And I showed the crankbait earlier. That's a bait that I like to dredge, even though it's low. It's probably my most aggressive low clear water presentation. You just wrecking ball this thing through there, just smashing into whatever you can. And,
mention again, we got people coming in and going out of this podcast all the time. So what's the name of this bait, color, all that jazz? And remember, people are listening in too, so he doesn't have a treble.
The color is Krylon, whatever I found. And I mean, it was a live target crayfish crankbait, which they don't make this one anymore. And I covet them and rehab them. But no, I like very dull, matte finish, like rattle can Like I even take like a Bill Lewis MR6 or MR10 and like scuff it up with sandpaper and just spray paint it olive. Tan belly, olive top. Actually, this one's got more dark brown than that, but
you're just literally spray painting your crankbait.
Yeah, and I got a whole tackle craft section in my YouTube channel. There's a lot of playlists on there. I think the
little stuff, by the way, if you guys are like, hey, what's Jeff Little's YouTube channel? The little stuff is where you can find him.
The Smallmouth playlist has 325 videos. I also divide them into
head over there.
Yeah, the better way to do it is to look at like the September or the October playlist and find out what patterns are about to happen. Like everyone waits for the new content, and it's like, and I've run into people, a lot of people that are signing up and are taking my classes are like, yeah, you clued me in on something this year that really helped, which was to look at the playlist for the month that's coming ahead.
Right.
And it preps you for what's about to happen. So you carry the right gear, you're looking for the right structure, you're understanding the patterns that are about to happen before they happen. It's going to serve you well. So
yeah, 100%. I got another good question, and you could probably go in a variety of different ways from this. Come from the wet dog smell. I love it. Minnesota, Upper Mississippi. I'm catching 18s and 19s. How do I get the 20-incher, right? Keep fishing, same baits, tactics, or try a big glide bait? What's all going through your mind right now? Help the wet dog smell out.
I want to address the name wet dog smell first.
Yeah, please.
I do. So I was in Boy Scouts growing up, and we went to a high adventure base up in the North Woods of Maine. Okay. And like we'd been out there, 4 days. And like I jump in the water just to cool off, and I pop out. I'm like, there's a dog. Where's the dog? Someone brought a dog. I haven't heard a dog. I smell a wet dog.
Right.
And it occurred to me, hey, we've been out here 4 days. That's me.
Yes.
We smell the same way if we don't bathe.
4 days. Right. Maybe you were the inspiration. Maybe you're the inspiration for this guy. I'm not sure. Nonetheless,
it's a unique smell for sure.
There's two names: the wet dog smell, and there's another guy's on here sometime called 10K Sweaty Fishing. Also, my favorite handle. So keep them coming, folks.
So Upper Mississippi, you got to start with understanding your forage base first, and it's different in different parts of the country. And I just showed you a crayfish bait, and I got plenty of other craw looking things, because craw is so critical to, we'll get into some of those later, to the Susquehanna. And it's not the only thing, but it's a very prevalent thing. So flip some rocks, just stop and look down in the grass, look at what colors you see, bring a net, scoop them and look at it. And when you catch a 19, you'll see this if you watch enough of my videos. I'll hold the fish and like lean into it. I don't kiss them. I'm not a fish kisser, but I give them a sniff.
You're missing out, homie.
I'll sniff them, and you can smell.
Are you primarily a fish sniffer?
I am a fish sniffer. I will smell what they've been eating, and when they're heavy on the craw, it smells like a dumpster after a Maryland crab feast.
Oh gosh,
it's rank, and it's they're on craws. Sometimes it's like oily, fishy, and you're like, yeah, you're keying in on the bait fish profiles. This is a 7-inch scented jerk shad. This thing is how I did well, where wet dog smell is from, catching some 20-inch plus, first time having been there. I will use this a couple different ways, but the best way for getting the bigs, if they're flying around and just slamming everything, man, just take this and put it on the back of a jackhammer. Give it a big profile, right? But low clear conditions, I'm catching, I just finished editing a video where I got one of them that was over 20 and a whole bunch of between 18 and 19s slow swimming this on, and I grabbed my short stack that has all my stuff that sits on the front of the inflatable kayak. I don't think I have the hook, but I got another one that's smaller. But
real quick, that soft plastic. What was that? What brand was that?
This is a Z-Man 7-inch scented jerk shad, and I've glued the eyeballs on.
I was about to say I've never seen Z-Man with eyeball like that before. All right, keep going.
I got a video on that too. All right, so this is a grip pin hook that I used a do-it mold to put this sort of banana shaped weight on, right? Mm-hmm. And I have one. This one's the size for the 4-inch scented jerk shad.
Got it.
And that's what actually caught my biggest smallmouth ever at a Dvorak Reservoir in Idaho. It was over 7.
I'm on now.
But I slow swim this, so it just moves through straight and even about that speed.
How's the wobble? Anything? No.
I try to not have it. It's hard to get this to not kind of drift side to side, but if I'm moving it faster, it's doing this, and that's not what I want. I want it. The phrase "not dead yet" is applies. So you're moving this through so slow that you're maintaining line tension so that when they crunch it, you feel it. You're not letting it settle on the bottom, but you're working the middle of the water column for something that is just going to be dead within the hour. And they don't pass that up.
Not dead yet is what you're looking for.
Not dead yet. I did one of my YouTube videos had that as a title.
I like it.
But it was about this bait and that belly weight. It's an 1/8 ounce. I talked about making my own, but if you use the Z-Man ZWGs in an 1/8 ounce with the smallest hook size possible, that's all you got to do is rig it on that and I've also done it where you fish it fast on the surface and I just ski it straight. I don't like all of the motion.
Mm-hmm.
If you just ski it straight, you get to see the fish that swirled on it, that showed himself to you, that didn't actually commit to when they're curious but not committed. If you run it straight on the surface, just skiing it across, not skittering,
almost
you
like
see that
plane.
Swirl, like I see you, and now I'm going to go back in and give you something you will not pass up, the automatic eat. So there are baits that have a lot of drawing power.
What's the color on that?
These are shiners.
The shiner color?
Yep.
Got it. So the eyeballs, you take the time to get these eyeballs and glue them on. So walk us through, where do you get them? 1, 2, why is that important to you? And 3, what glue do you use?
Where do I get it? Like whenever I stop in a fly fishing shop, or Do It Molds actually sells that kind of stuff. Let's see if I got the glue. I mean, it's Gorilla Glue gel. I should have one here. Okay, note to self, restock Gorilla Glue gel. I have it in the other bag. It's a process. It's a tedious process. There's a video on that in the tackle crafting. It's called Eyes. The thumbnail just has these things lined up as eyes. All right.
Can't miss it.
Does it make a difference? Do you feel like it makes a difference having those on there?
Seth, here's the difference it makes. It's hookup percentage. Without these eyes, they mess with this part of the bait a lot.
Yeah.
They mess with it. I do the whole rubber band tug of war thing. Yeah. It sucks. You get to see this giant smallmouth with the front end and the hook hanging out the front, and he just looks at you saying, ha ha, and then he drops it on you. With the eyes tell them, all right, which end to eat first, because they want it to go down head first, right?
Yeah.
My hookup percentage went way up once I started using eyes.
Yeah.
So
gives them It gives them more of a target there. Too.
Gives them a target. Yeah. Gives them, and I like them oversized. That's not like a fish crazy. This size. That's too big of an eye. I like that.
I never thought about eyes. That's just not
until now.
Yeah, this is. You ever put eyes on anything else besides like fish? You ever throw them on like anything else?
Like jig heads and all that stuff that you can paint them on.
There's an underspin. Yeah.
Do you put the oversized eyes on those?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I poured that with a mold. The plastic is a Z-Man, but I poured that with a really, really sticky little, Owner 5318. Love that hook.
That right there, the eyes. Do you do it for largemouth too? Do you think it makes a difference there? Or not as much.
I don't see why it wouldn't.
Sure. Yeah, Steven Sturgeon says, I wonder if Black Sharpie would work for eyes as well. Have you ever tried that, or do you need...
It bleeds out.
Okay.
It doesn't have a well-defined border. Mm-hmm. It looks blurry.
Yeah. Yeah, and those eyes are kind of reflective too, and they kind of give off some shine. And
yeah.
All right. I think if I learned anything from this podcast, like the juiciest so far has been the eyes and your history with that and your experience with that. I love it. So the wet dog smell, says, been catching them on a scented jerk shads and Zoom speed crawls, just not cracking the 20-inch barrier. What do you tell guys tells you that outside
Slow
of
it down.
Go grab some eyeballs?
Slow it down. Yeah, put the eyeballs on, but just not dead.
Painfully slow.
Yet.
But will be in the hour. That's what you got to think. Not dead yet, but will be within the hour. And that brings out. There you go. There you go. Wet dog smell. Jeff, I think you should change your YouTube from the little stuff to Jeff the Fish Sniffer. I think that would go.
Chad gave me the name.
Subscribe. The Fish Sniffer?
Chad gave me the little stuff. We were fishing after a national championship, maybe 2017. By the way, I had like years of producing content. I put content on something called Pivot Share, and it was a subscription-based thing.
Okay.
I timed it wrong. Everyone else is like, it was 2009 to 2017, and I'm like, let me do a subscription-based thing, which are now like those are working, but back then it didn't. And we're fishing. He suggested, he was like, you should really, consolidate all your stuff and just start over with YouTube. And I did. And and he was like, Jeff Little, I know what your videos are. I know what you teach. You teach the details, all the little stuff. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you have it.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah. So here's a question for you. Do you put more weight, not like physical weight, but weight? Do you weight location or presentation more when it comes to trophy fish?
It's both. Like that's like saying,
break it down.
I need a steering wheel or a gas pedal. You need both, man. And that's the
basis. I asked you which one you weighted. I'm not saying it's not both. The assumption was they are both, but do you weight one more than the other?
You're deconstructing this too far.
We peel back the layers of the onion here. Now, obviously, I just went to Ohio River, and it's probably the biggest set I know of anybody catching around 18s in the 18 range. So, okay, do these Ohio creeks and rivers hold 20s, and we just need to dial it in, or do we need to actually go places and focus more on locations that are known for larger fish? Or do I need to focus on the areas that are close to me and focus more on presentation?
Some of the biggest, Indiana got a new state record smallmouth recently.
Recently? Like last year or recently?
It might have been this year or the year before.
Okay. Came out of the lake, right?
Apparently out of a lake.
Yep.
That everyone said, there's smallmouth there? That's so far south. We didn't think. West Branch, Susquehanna. everyone knows the North Branch is amazing. The main stem is amazing. The Juniata, all the tributary, amazing. And then everyone, what about the West Branch? Like, yeah, I don't really go up there. Well, it's not as healthy. It doesn't have as many fish. But like the two giant, like the ones that I know, like I hear that story multiple times, two different fish that were caught up there, and they were, 23+ inch fish are West Branch. And so to like just chase where hey, this is a nationally renowned, like this is where you go. Sure, that'll like you'll have fun, but like don't write off. I guess what I'm saying is you have to, for location, you have to have an ethic of exploration. You have to be willing to, hey, let's find our own fish. Let's not go for the sure thing. Let's go check out. And honestly, we talked a little bit about my early kayak fishing. A big part of that was the Potomac River Smallmouth Club. And I was the trip coordinator, and we would do trips to like the Upper Allegheny or down to the New River or the North Anna River or the Rappahannock, or we would go somewhere in West Virginia. We'd just go all over and just explore. In the process of researching water before you fish it, at least back then, and I still have a stack of these things, but like a whitewater guidebook, right? Wow. This is Exploring Virginia's Waterways by Edward Gertler. I got a whole bunch of them here, but and there's a lot of online resources, but go explore. Actually, I was talking to someone this afternoon that lives down in Virginia, and I'm like, have you fished this river? What about the tributary of that? And they're in his backyard. I know where he is in Virginia, and I'm like, you have amazing, like, yes, let's come up here to the Susquehanna. I'll do my kayak fishing class for you.
Sure.
Great, we'll do it. By the way, when you go home, you need to fish this river, and this river. Mm. And two of those are like creeks. And two of those, I floated like a 14-mile stretch for 2 holes. And in those 2 holes, you had 2 big fish each. And that's not at all a sure thing. But that's a blast to go to be like, man, have I wasted a day? I've caught a couple little rock bass this big and like smallmouth, maybe a 9-incher. And I'm like, what am I doing? What did I do? And then you pull around the corner, you're like, this is a bigger pool. And you lob a cast down in there, and something goes pow, and you're like, whoa, this is something. And you catch a 19-incher in something that you're like, this is just a creek. That to me is a lot of joy. That is like, hey, I thought there was going to be fish here, and I got the validation of being right. Mm-hmm. That's the joy of fishing for me in a really tight package. That the validation of, and you don't get that when you just go to a shore thing all the time. And I know when you're new to a particular type of fishing that you want the security of knowing, like, am I even in the right state? Right. And I would say every time there's a tournament that comes to the Susquehanna, everyone does it. Everyone hits me up. Hey, is this
really?
Yes. How about this one? Is that a good stretch? Yes. Oh, I was thinking about going up here. Is it fish good there? Yes.
Just so you know, you're going to get yes.
Are there any stretches you don't like? I'm like,
no.
And if you watch my videos, people that like hunt for like, where's Jeff's hunting? I always pick different floats, because it's like, for one, it's annoying that people do that and think that that's the location. I just got to know what pool he's in, and then I can catch. It's presentation. So right there, I finally answer your question. Presentation. Just because you know where I'm fishing doesn't mean you can catch them. And that's where I really drill down to what's important. Not dead yet, or whatever it is for that particular bait. And
Well, let's talk baits because we've only talked about a few here. We are at 51 minutes into the show. If you haven't done so, please hit that like button. Helps you get a little bit more yardage after it's all said and done. But what are some of your confidence baits, or like, hey, I was getting ready for this river trip and I was like, okay, which lures do I want to lose? Which is usually what happens when I river fish my baits. And so I'm putting together a list of all the ones I like.
In categories or broad, I'll just ask you, are you more of a power fisherman or a finesse fisherman?
Oh, I love them both. I mean, I was throwing the plopper. It was a good day. I was throwing a Ned rig. It was a good day. I was throwing the Gobius.
I'm really happy to hear you say that.
Yeah, I'm all over the place.
Because people that are like, I'm really good at finesse, that's code for I'm really good at wasting a lot of time in one spot where it should have happened on the first cast.
Right.
Or, hey, I'm really good at power fishing. Well, that's code for like, I'm going to go down there with the ship, like throwing a mag draft until the time's out. And rejoice the days that it actually works.
Yeah, right.
I filmed so many people in competition in this sport that have made a living, which is very few people, but they're always cashing checks. Almost without fail, they're really good at knowing when to upshift to power fish or downshift to finesse. And in finesse, I already showed you a couple of the finesse ones, but I'll show you this one. That's the Z-Man Llama tube.
Oh yeah,
I added a little finesse worm there, and I made my own jig head with again that owner 5318 like super sticky hook, right?
So you don't use the Llama tube jig heads. You want the guard.
I make my own stuff always, but this is such a small tube. This represents the most finessey thing you can do because it's an automatic eat. If he sees this, if a bass sees this, he will eat it. He will not pass this up. It's automatic.
Too easy.
Yeah. Same thing with the 4-inch scented jerk shad.
4-inch.
You dead stick in front of any bass, they're gonna be like
slurp it.
So you do that when you know you have the right location. You're on a pot of fish. Okay, start throwing the automatic eat stuff. But you got to find that first. And a lot of times it comes down to you need your search baits. You need your baits that you can throw out there and retrieve. And maybe it's so big that it gets hit, or baits that have drawing power. If I say a bait has drawing power, Seth, what is a bait that has drawing power that you used?
Something that makes noise on top of the water, or a bigger swim bait like a glide or anything like that draws them out.
Yep. How would you define drawing power?
Something pulls them out of where they're currently sitting.
It gets them moving.
Yeah, it gets them moving.
Gets them moving. They check it out. They can't not go run up to it and at least look at it. But it doesn't mean they're going to eat it.
That's right.
So they're gonna at least show themselves, and you'd be like, oh, that's the kind of root ball these fish want to be on. Noted. And that's valuable, right? You gotta strain a lot of water to figure that out. And you can do that with a bait, even if they're curious but not committed. Or you can do it with something and we did it yesterday in yesterday's class. I call it crash and learn. Crash and learn. We take a torpedo, we mash it at full speed, and you go running up through the pool, low clear, and then you're like, ooh, there's two. Ooh, there's two. Okay, they're near this kind of structure. They're on these grass edges. Okay, there's more grass there. Oh, there's a giant, and he has 3 of his buddies. Okay, let's sit on that. Okay, what's here? Let's make observations. Okay, it's the grass is up on in 6 inches right there, but it drops down to 2.5 feet here, and the grass edge is there, and there's a current seam there. Oh, by the way, there's a little boulder there too. Let's pull the phone out, Google Maps, drop a waypoint. We'll come back to that one. That's a cheater way to do it. But the other way to do it is to throw big baits and notice when they come out, and you figure out where they, what kind of places are they holding today. But it doesn't mean that they're going to eat. And sometimes you have to downshift. I have downshifted in a day from, I throw the billy goat as a buzz bait. It's soft plastic buzz bait. I put a 3/0 grip pin EWG on there, and it's a great go anywhere. Soft plastic buzz bait is basically what it is, and I will creep it. Sometimes I downshift. So you have downshifts. If you have fish that are slashing at this and not eating it, let's take a downshift. What are we going to downshift? Are we going to go with a smaller size? Okay, we can do that. Here's a regular goat. Or no, let's start swimming the baby goat. So that's a downshift in size. But the downshift I like more than anything is, hey, I've been burning this. Let's slow it down a little bit, or let's give it a pause. See if that results in okay, I'm no longer curious. I'm committed. I'm eating that. A lot of times taking this and just gurgling it along as slow as possible is the downshift that gets the big fish to eat that. So you got to take cues from it. You got to know when a fish slashes at it and boils on it. Everyone says, oh, they missed. They didn't miss. They didn't miss because they don't miss. They don't miss. If they want to put it in their mouth, they're going to put it in their mouth. They're testing. They're going a bit like, what is that thing? They're not like, oh, I'm eating it. It's good. That tells you something. And it tells you need to downshift. You can downshift size, speed, profile, like how big of a bait it is, how noisy, vibration, how much flash. You can do more flash or less flash. I downshifted flash on a recent trip from like the spinnerbait to a jackhammer to the baby jack, and then eventually downshifted to this little underspin. Very little flash, but there is a flash, right? So making appropriate downshifts to, maybe you're not all the way at automatic eat. And maybe you're not at like, and I don't have one with me, but big glide bait, massive drawing power. You figure out where in that continuum you're going to get them to eat. Does that make sense?
What kind of line, like what's your setup for these baits? Are you have the same setup, or do you range in like line based on the size of the bait? Let's just say for like the Susquehanna River. So I grew up on the Susquehanna River. I grew up in Halifax, right on the water.
Yeah.
So I did a ton of smallmouth fishing growing up. I was not like, we would just go wade and throw like tubes. That's what we did every summer when we were little. Just go wade out there, throw tubes, and just hammer 100 fish a day in the summertime.
Beautiful.
It was a lot of fun, but like your setup. So now if I go back to the Susquehanna, it would be a lot different from what I'm doing. But like, what's your rod, reel, line setup?
So this is a rod I'm working on building right now, and it's a spinning rod, and it's a Rain Shadow, which is a house brand blank from Batson Enterprises. It's a 7'2" medium fast, right? And that's what I'm throwing, like these little finesse jigs, or the stuff that I let it sit, the 5-inch scented jerk shad, something like that, where I need to, I'm going to put this down before I scrape my ceiling with it, because it's in process.
You making that for yourself, or are you working with a company?
No, I'm making it for myself.
Got it.
There is a rod building playlist on the YouTube channel.
That's not surprising.
Anyways,
anything Jeff says, there's a video playlist on it.
That's a Eternity RX10, which is super sensitive, and I will throw the 5-inch scented jerk shad, and it has that banana shaped weight of that resting on the bottom, because it's got such little resistance compared to, say, a regular Arky style that like comes to that firm rest on bottom, and you're like, yep, I got a good connection. That you feel. This other one, not so much. So having a good sensitive rod, and people say that a lot, but this one's just crazy sensitive. I've taken to liking the Sunline All Might in the 22 pound, which is more like 14 pound braid. It's sinking braid, which allows a lot of these middle of the water column presentations. Like I'll take the goat and just swim it through the middle of the water column. But that's the braid I use if I do braid to fluoro, and I'm using the gamma fluoro as the leader. Different sizes. I don't have that with me, but I got like an eye bolt with like 4 spools on it, and like just a washer and a nut to like keep it all. It's on the other box that I didn't bring in. So braid to fluoro, and most people do that. But if it's a setup, and usually a bait caster, like the Swag LT, I did a custom, or had somebody do a custom rod for me for that, which is the Judge. So the Judge is more of it's a moderate fast, and it really loads well. And I actually do the spinning rods with that, and bait casters, but I'll put the spinning rod and I'll throw that big chunk of plastic, which is a lot of weight, and I can launch it. But if it's jackhammer or crankbait, a lot of times it just goes straight fluoro.
What's the weight on your leader and when you go straight fluoro?
It varies. I've been told, like I had a lot of students that sign up for my class, like asked about all that. And every time I say it, they're like, wow, you like to use cable. I don't know. The gamma is super, I think it's weighted lighter than, or heavier. I don't know. Like a 12 is going to be more like someone else's 15, and I'll use the 12 a lot.
Yeah.
If I'm grinding the bottom a lot, I'll use their 20. Okay. And I think their 20 is probably going to test at like 27 or something.
And that's in clear water too? Like if it's crystal clear?
Yep.
So it's underrated line significantly. Interesting.
Yeah.
I got a couple comments coming in from some of those listening in. So let's go ahead and jump over here. Then I got a question for you, Jeff. The Classy Kayaker said the other day I was getting like a strike, but they weren't committing. So this is gold. I was trying to figure out why I was getting strikes, but no one wanted to eat. So thank you there.
That's a sign that you need to downshift. I would want to know what were you throwing? If Classy, they say,
let us know. We'll circle back to that in a second. Brew Tank Outdoors. This info is awesome. Given the juice, Steven Sturgeon said the gurgle is priceless and heart-stopping. Love it. Bass Raft as well. That gurgle is no joke. But we've been talking a whole lot about river smallmouth fishing. What do you do different when you go lake smallmouth fishing?
Yeah, and the reason Darren's asking this is because he catches a lot of drum. And he goes to it's drum after drum. That's what the pictures I'm seeing. He calls it the redfish of Ohio. So we're trying to move him off of that.
No shame, and that's a fun fish to catch.
Oh gosh, so hard fighting. I mean, everyone makes fun of me. The guys, it just tells me you haven't caught a drum before, because my goodness,
they're cool on
a BFS catching a 10.
They're really drum. Cool to catch, unless you're in a tournament where you have to bring in smallmouth, and then they're cool.
Or walleye, yeah.
Because you think, oh, yeah, I'm bringing in a bag today. No, you're not.
Nope, stinky fish.
So my lake smallmouth fishing started in where I really studied it. A reservoir here in Maryland called Pretty Boy Reservoir, which is one of Baltimore's water supply reservoirs. And you got to figure out the forage. You got to figure out what they're eating. You got to know, and that's a weird one. That lake, they eat a lot of, there's white perch everywhere. There's no shad. No shad. Dwarshak, when I went out there, it's kokanee. And any of these lakes out west that have the kokanee, and have some bass, go fish them. Go fish them. Go find, just get you a glide bait or mag draft that looks like a kokanee or anything that is in that range. And like, again, I keep showing this. But do you guys see this yet?
Everyone's like, "Yep, already ordered it on the way."
But know the forage base first, right? And I think before we started this, we were all talking about, like, I pulled this book out, and this is an old
OG composition.
Yeah, man.
03.
2003.
Yeah, there you go. That's when I started it. But this one's for, these are stream flow gauges. I keep track of stream flow gauges. We're, so much of what the patterns are is dependent on how much water's coming down the river. And this is the data. This is old stuff, but like, I got one section for the Rappahannock. There's one for the James. There's the Shenandoah. That's the North Fork Shenandoah. There is a Susquehanna one on here. That's level. A Juniata page. And I write little details on there, like, what the gauge was doing. Is it rising? What's the CFS? And did it drop to this level? That kind of stuff. What caused the rise? And then I link details on what was the pattern. And honestly, I stopped doing this, although I kind of came back to it here recently when I go fish somewhere that I'm like, I've never been there before. If I ever return, I kind of want to know before driving up there that it's not blown out, or it's not like going to be a shin bashing death march because there's no water in the river, which is like everywhere right now. On a lake, I think that piece of data is wind speed and direction. There's so much about wind on a lake that spurs feeding activity, right? There's also, what is the forage doing seasonally? Are they at the backs of the creeks? Are they out in open water off of those points? And a lot of that you can figure out with a good depth finder, where you just go for a ride with your depth finder and you look at side imaging or the down scan or even forward facing and just sit on a point and just scan back and forth. Door shack, that's all I do. I've learned to do it. It's kind of where it kind of came together, the whole forward facing sonar thing. Torpedo motor has me moving at like 1.5 miles an hour.
Okay. And
all I'm doing with a forward facing sonar is sweeping back and forth. And I'm looking. Am I looking for those giant smallmouth? No. I'm looking for schools of kokanee. And when I see one, I'll tighter wobble it back and forth and see, hey, kokanee. Yeah, it's a nice little cloud of kokanee. What I like about it is that it's tight. It means it's nervous. It means there's a predator underneath. There's that smallmouth underneath. And he's looking at them and they're looking down at him. If it's a cloud of kokanee or other bait fish and the borders are really fuzzy, they're spread out, they're relaxed, they're not stressed. The really good ones, and it's the same thing looking for striped bass out on the Chesapeake Bay. The really good ones is when you see it's not a circular tight circle. It's like the insignia of it's like the Star Trek thing, which means there's one that's blasting them, and they're just going, oh crap, they're getting out of the way. You see that? Yeah, you got to throw on that right away. And it lets you know. I mean, you scoot around and you look at their depth, what their borders look like, what they're hanging out near, what are they hanging out off the points, or are they going back in the creeks, or is there something else that's happening? Do they like hanging out over old road beds, or do they like this kind of drop off, but that other kind of drop off isn't right? So learning the forage, assessing the forage, and figuring out what are these, what's the food doing? Figure out what the food's doing, and that applies to river fishing too, for sure, but like even more so with the lake. And it is a lot of depth finder work to be successful quickly.
Yeah. No, I love it. So we're at an hour and 11 minutes. We're coming toward the end of the show. So if you have a question for Jeff, you want to get that answered, go ahead and throw that in there. I had a question for you. This is a Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast, and we haven't talked about the kayak that you run yet. And so I would imagine that you own a few of them, but what is your primary? Well, you might have a lake and you might have a river kayak. So walk us through what you got, why you got it, if you plan on upgrading, did you recently upgrade? What's going on in Jeff Little's world?
So I worked for Torqeedo for close to 7 years, and I got to rig and test and learn about lots of different kayaks. And I, at some point, understood that a flat bottom, long length of wetted surface boat that was lightweight is going to be the most efficient. I'm going to get my best test numbers. And I have in an inflatable kayak that's long fits that bill. Okay. And no one really built that. And I was like, I actually talked to a bunch of different companies saying, hey, design it like this, and got lip service like, that's great, Jeff. Thanks for sharing that, and they do nothing. And I got frustrated and eventually just ordered one, designed one, talked to people in China. By the way, they're made in China and Vietnam, drop stitch flooring. That's where they're made. If they were made domestically, well, I'd want to talk. Ordered one, said, okay, let me figure out how to rig this. And loved that it was super shallow draft. The stability, the primary stability was amazing. The third thing is stealth. And I didn't understand how important that was until fishing out of one for years. But basically, every little creak or groan of the seat transfers a vibration into the rotomolded hull that amplifies it and spooks fish. Every time it's more than just like, dropping the pliers and it hitting the hull. Like that one's obvious, but there's a lot of really subtle things. And when you're floating on a bubble of air, you insulate all that stuff that's happening topside from it. It doesn't reach the fish. So stealth is huge with an inflatable. Also in a river lake setting, when I finally switched to I only want to be in an inflatable, I felt like I had been driving my truck my whole driving career on the rims, and all of a sudden someone put tires on there, and I'm like, this is so much nicer. I don't have to have these jarring, crunching, pinballing through these rapids. I can have these gentle little rubs, and it's just easier. It's quieter. It's more stealth, more stability. So I designed the kayak that I'm using. I'm on the water tomorrow teaching one of my kayak fishing classes, and I'll be in a Innovative Sportsman Osprey 1436.
I saw that exact. I don't know if it's the 1436, but the Osprey, I think it's the owner of the company on the Harris Chain of Lakes 2 years ago.
That's true.
He was going 7 miles per hour out the marsh. I'm like, dude, what?
6.8. 6.8 is what I get on that boat.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely cruising, and that thing looks tough too. It looks hard.
So it's double layered, and there's more and more inflatable kayaks on the market. And what Trey and I have developed together is not the lightweight inflatable, it's the heavy duty one. And we've learned certain areas that are heavy wear areas, and the biggest threat to them is fish fin puncture. Everyone think, oh, you're going to hit a rock with that, you're going to go down and think it's a pull toy. It's not. I've never hit a rock and split one open. And hooks don't go in them.
Yeah, I've
never had a hook puncture other than the one that I intentionally had a friend jab in there, and I had him beat a fresh crankbait against the side of it to try and get it to stick to it. I'm like, is your arm tired yet? After 5 minutes of him trying to smack it into it, just swinging it.
Yeah.
I said, all right, fine. Now we're going to do this video on how to quickly patch it. And it's a lot like having like if you mountain bike and you do single track out in the middle of nowhere, you're probably gonna bring a patch kit, right?
Sure.
So you bring a patch kit and a pump, but I mean the prototype Osprey that I fished out of for close to 3 years, I still haven't punctured it.
It was the way he had his rigged up was really cool, and it was fast and it looked stable, and it looked like it was made to do work. I don't know, Darren, if you have a handy, you can just throw a picture up because it's pretty neat.
I didn't even know. Is it available to purchase, Jeff, or is it
So
kind of like
he's
limited run stuff?
He actually has a shipment of 25 of them coming in tomorrow, and he's been out of stock for a long time because the threats of tariffs have meant that like there was a run on any drop stitch flooring, and like our April order is getting here now.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're
There's
cool.
25 of them. Huh?
Are they a lot of them already sold?
Yeah.
People who wanted them? Got it.
Yep.
Where would you get one if you wanted just to even look at it? Is there like a
It's
website?
just the Innovative Sportsman website. I think it's
There
just innovativesportsman.com. Yep.
They were cool. When I saw that, I was like, dude, that's actually like I could see myself. And when you say inflatable, I think people think of like just like I don't know, weak material or
Text.
like just not good. But that thing that he was using looked mean the way he had it rigged and everything. I think it was black and it was pretty neat and it was fast. He was moving.
Yeah, they scoot. I designed one other called the Peregrine that I got up to. It was 7.6 mile an hour. Now the application for that isn't, hey, I just want to go fast because it's fun. It's hey, I want the most efficient hull because I want to shoot up through class 2 rapids. Got it. And I do. I can climb a tongue with that, and that one's almost 15 feet long. It's a giant. It has this goofy ass long tail that like helps it climb.
Yeah.
It really makes it, climb that tongue and get up into the next pool, so you don't have to. And honestly, that's kind of the model of how you do a trip anymore. Is not okay. We're gonna put a vehicle at the end and then one at the top, and we're gonna do a float trip down at the end. We got to go back, get your vehicle, and you watch no float trips. We still do them, but like if we can get away without doing them, and you just put in somewhere and you motor up and then you come back down, or put in, go down and motor up, whatever. That's it's honestly most of the classes I'm running as well. So
I like it.
And I think out of, obviously I'm offering the classes, the kayak fishing classes. If you guys want an outline of that, you can just email me. Just find me on social media and say, hey, I want one of your outlines that shows what it is I'm teaching. But I think I'm up to 10 people have signed up.
All right. Reach out.
7 of them already have their own inflatable.
I like it.
So
a couple questions coming in as we kind of land the plane to this bad boy. Still holding 50 strong on live. So thank you guys for listening in. If you haven't done so, please hit that like button. Question I have for you from Keep Casting says, Jeff, are you going to take that kayak safety course Wendell is developing, Hoover is developing? I know the answer to this. We got one better for you, folks. Jeff, I'll let you answer that.
I've been involved in, like, I've reviewed the curriculum and helped them, just reviewing it. And a lot of that is the American Canoe Association certification, where it's not, hey, do you know how to paddle in whitewater? It's do you know how to help people learn how to paddle in whitewater by assessing what kind of learner are you? Are you I have to watch you do it first? Are you I just got to jump in and screw it up and then you can coach me what I did wrong? Or are you hey, I got to listen to you talk about it for 3 minutes and then maybe we'll, learning how people learn is a critical part of this. And what I've seen so far is that we have a really solid base in this curriculum that you guys have been developing, and I have some for sure some input, and hopefully when I get to the end of two of my classes this fall, I can start filming some of the river-based stuff for that.
That's what I want to talk about. So part of the KFAS, Kayak Fishing Advanced Safety Training, is once you get your basic done and your advanced done, you can then start doing modules, right? Like, oh, I want to get into river fishing. That's a whole nother thing, right? So instead of us trying to shove it into basic, where a lot of people don't river fish, we're going to be leaning into some people who are highly knowledgeable and have very significant skill sets in that, like Jeff, to create a module around river fishing and the safety around it, and even within that safety, how to catch fish in there. We're going to make it a dual purpose. And so pretty excited about that as that learning management system continues to grow and those offerings continue to grow. They're not just going to be taught by Chad Hoover and Darren Wendell. We're going to start bringing in experts in the field in those niches. So pretty excited about that, Jeff. Appreciative of you being a part of that process. So Let us know what can we look forward to from Jeff Little in the months. What's the rest of the year and going into next year? Do you have like anything noodling around in your brain we can be excited about? Obviously, you're teaching classes now.
Yeah. I mean, the kayak fishing classes I'm going to take through October. I think once we get into November, unless someone's already taken a previous class, like I did this before, where I will take people and teach them how to catch winter river smallmouth. If I know I've been out with them before and they know how to handle themselves. But that's like a mandatory, you got to have the dry suit. So I'll be doing that. Continue to work with Steve Carroll at Snake River Manufacturing to develop. And I think a lot of the content surrounding that is going to be surrounding the DIY type stuff, where he can send it out to me and I don't always have to go out to Idaho to film all that and tell the story that way. He's going to be shipping me things to like show, hey, here's a good new way if you have a pickup truck, or here's a new way if you get a Harbor Freight trailer to put our bunks on it. And that'll continue for sure. And then beyond that, what I mentioned, once I'm done teaching, I'm going to be filming these river kayak fishing modules.
Come on.
And November's a great month to do that. We're going to have flow again. It wouldn't be good for me to film them now because we have no flow, and teaching back ferrying and the Dufek stroke and all these higher level boat positioning, and it'll be more than that. I mean, I'm gonna cover pattern development for river smallmouth. I'm gonna cover forage assessment, stealth approaches, and not just the paddling skills. And for sure we're going to talk about the different ways that people die on a river kayak fishing, because that happens.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about hypothermia. We're going to talk about, reboarding practice, and we're going to talk about idiot jet boaters that want to kill you. And also maybe a little bit about, hey, they're not idiots. They just need that lane and you're parked in the middle of it, so you're the idiot. We'll talk about all the river hazards and make sure that you know what you need to prepare yourself with so that you actually make it home after each of those trips. So safety is a driving force behind all this, but we also want it to be really juicy so that people are learning more than just how to be safe. They're learning to be more effective as anglers. And the biggest part of that, and this comes back to what I said earlier, I've filmed so many people that do well, are higher level, tournament anglers. They're really good at putting the boat exactly where it needs to be to make that right presentation and get bit the first time.
Love it. Well, Jeff, we look forward to having you on again in the future. This is going to be,
I'd enjoy it.
It's going to be a good time. I had Basshole NH said, subscribe to Jeff's channel. Heck yeah, cool. Brother. So you haven't done so, head over to, is your home base YouTube? Would you say?
I guess. I mean, I've been doing more on Instagram here recently. I'm actually going to back off of the YouTube stuff here in the next couple months because I'm doing the classes and that's enough. I mean, the last 2 classes were 12 hours on the river.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
They get their money's worth. And, and I don't really have room for filming everything that happens the same way I do if I just go out and do. So I'm taking a break from that for a little while, and I encourage people to look at the playlist. Look at the October playlist. There's a lot of good stuff from previous years. But also Instagram is Jeff Little Kayak Fishing.
All right. Well, you guys heard it there. Bass Raft said, "Hey, this is an awesome episode. Love it. Excellent show." Thanks, from Thomas. Thanks, Jeff, from Steven. Keep smelling those donkeys, Jeff, from Johnny. And so I love it. Well, folks, thank you so much. Hopefully you pulled out some nuggets here. It's going to help you become a better kayak angler out there in the water. Next week, we have Trevor Powell, who, if you're like, who is that? He's the guy right now going in the Yak Off. So that's a thing coming up here. I'm part of the Yak Off next week. And so the voting will begin. So you'll see my YouTube and all my social media stuff blow up asking for your vote. So please help me do that.
In return for his vote.
Say what?
I said, make sure everyone asks what you get in return for your vote. For
don't even know. A belt? I think a belt? Well, you guys get more than I think I get.
No, what we get, what do we get for voting for Darren is what I would like to know. Maybe one of those 47 hats on the wall there behind you.
Dude, I'm getting a hat wall. I started it. My wife's like, way too many hats. So I was like, you know what? I have this entire wall here. It'll probably hold, oh my gosh, probably 150, 200 hats. And so I'm excited about that because I keep getting them at a more faster rate. So pumped about that. All right, folks.
What's your style, by the way? What do you like? Are you a Richardson 112
Richardson
guy?
112, yeah. 100%. That's what I think this Cashion one is right now. Gotcha. But I'm an equal opportunity hat wearer. Some just fit better than others. Some just look better than others. But yeah, I'm a big fan of hats. I don't think you're ever going to go to my YouTube channel and find me not wearing a hat. I don't think any of you have ever seen me not wear a hat.
Yeah, maybe.
No one knows if I have hair under this thing or if there's no hair and completely. I mean, no one knows.
It's a mohawk, guys.
I take the structured like Richardson 112s. I'm going to show you this Yak Attack hat. I rip it out. I rip all the guts out of that. I don't like it peaked. I like it. And I've been told, hopefully that all it carried, I've been told I'm a dad hat guy.
A dad hat? Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I wear them for a long time, they end up like that.
The legacy hats I like a lot.
Okay. Yeah. See, Thomas is like, I wouldn't recognize you. You wouldn't know. No one wouldn't even know who I am. I love it. Well, folks, I appreciate your listening. I'm glad that a lot of people thought this was a good show. Jeff, grateful for you and your time. Seth as well. Love having you guys part of it. And a special thanks to show sponsor Dark Horse Tackle. Once again, it's a whole lot of fun getting this box every month and just ripping through a lot of these baits, catching fish on these baits. So head over to darkhorsetackle.com. Check those out. Hope you guys have a great week. See you next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. You guys have a good one.